Good evening and welcome to the Cheese Room podcast. I am your host, John, for the evening. John for the evening? I'm your host for the evening, John. That makes more sense, doesn't it? And joining me this evening, well, there was supposed to be five of us. Unfortunately, poor Davo's fallen ill and HG got a better offer of going to see Austria play France. So hopefully he might join us later if he gets out of the game. But first of all, Diver the Fiver, I believe he's now known as. He's seen Ari this week. And he's also had a little phone call from the HMRC and he's been chased. He's going to jail, I think. How are you, Steve? Tell us about that.
I'm good. It's almost like there's a link there, isn't it? You see Harry Redknapp in a week and then you get a phone call from HMRC. Wonder if there's a link, but probably shouldn't say too much on that. I'll be on the doghouse.
Did they say Rosie?
No, I was waiting for somebody to throw that question out. But no, Wednesday night, we had a Q&A evening thing with Harry Redknapp, like really good. If anybody's got a chance to go see him, I don't know if tickets are still on sale. This was a COVID event that got pushed back for 2 years, but it was good. His usual anecdotes and stories. So it was good laugh. And then HMRC had a scam call from them, so they get dragged out by the HMRC police. Apparently, they told me they're on the way, literally on the way right now to arrest me for not paying my taxes, which as an accountant is very embarrassing.
Are they still on their way then?
I don't know where they're coming from. They're obviously not coming from HMRC's head office, but they'll be here at some point, no doubt. Well, I'll get another phone call.
Yeah. Good evening, Kerry, in the chat, one of our patrons and channel members. And also joining us this evening for a second time, I think, is Matt from Premier Hotspur TV. How are you, Matt?
I'm all good. Yeah, it's Friday. Transfer rumours galore, isn't there, at the moment? But no, I'm really pleased to be on again, and I'm looking forward to tonight's show.
Absolutely. Well, we'll get on to transfers in a minute. If I can just ask everyone who's watching, there's 40 people currently watching, please hit that like button or caller will, I don't know, hit me or something. If you want to make a comment, we'll be going through the comments later. Obviously, if you'd like to do a super chat, we'll definitely get to your comments straight away. And don't forget also channel memberships. We've got loads of channel members on this evening. I already mentioned Kerry. Here's Sam. How are you, Sam? And the King is here. He told me he was going to see Top Gun. Do you reckon he's in the cinema just on his phone, just typing? Right. And Matt, who made his debut on Wednesday, is also here. Matt will be back next Wednesday. So, shall we get on with it? So, what a lot of people, this seems to have gone over a lot of people's heads, is actually today was the first day of the transfer window. So, despite that, we've already signed 2 players, which is quite impressive. We've obviously signed Perisic last week, and this week we added this man. Not a total shock. What are your thoughts on him? I'll go to you first, Matt.
I think he's on a free transfer. I think he'll be on reasonably low wages. I don't think goalkeeper's necessarily, something we need to upgrade. With Hugo there, I think we just need a capable number 2 to come in for the cup games. What is he? He's about 6'7", isn't he? He's quite a big unit in goal, so he should be pretty commanding in the box. And yeah, he's English, homegrown, so that will help with the European quota. He has. I think I read 42 clean sheets out of 100 and something games. He's played for Southampton, he's played for Celtic. He's used to the Premier League and used to the demands, and I think it's a smart and sensible signing.
Steve, question from Kerry here: is he a possible contender to take over from Hugo in the future?
No. Do you want me to expand on that?
I think you should, yeah.
Without sounding like Harry Redknapp cliche, he ticks a lot of boxes. Like Matt said, homegrown, Premier League experience. He's coming from a decent club. He's a good goalie. I don't think he's at the level we need for a first-team goalkeeper. He wasn't like. Do we even say he was Southampton's first-team goalie? Because it was kind of half and half, wasn't he?
He was at the back end of the season. He was very much the number 1. It was him and McCarthy, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, so kind of a lesser team's kind of first-team goalie. For our first-team keeper, we need to be aiming higher if we want to win league or win serious cups. But he's absolutely bang on, isn't he? I mean, we can spend the money elsewhere. Matt, like you said, probably going to be on reasonably low wage. He hasn't cost us a penny apart from agent fees and signing on bonus. So yeah, I think brilliant buy. And he'll fit right in, right? So he's used to the league, used to a language. So it's all good.
I mean, the important question is, can he rap? Obviously, because that's a key part of any goalkeeper these days. But yeah, I think George is right. Forster is a breath of fresh air after Galini. And even Vorm, I wasn't a big fan of Vorm. I thought he'd be decent when we signed it, but he really wasn't very good. Callers at it already. 50 watching. Please smash that like button. And the other person we've signed, can't quite see his name there, but Ivan Perisic. Matt, are you happy with Perisic?
I'm ecstatic with him. This guy is a experience, winner. He's won Champions League, Coppa Italia's. He's won the Italian league. He's played under Conte. The rumours are that Conte really wanted him. One of his first ones through the door. We got it done. As the rumours said, he was on, potentially going to be on 150 grand a week, but we know it's just under 100, I think, or 98, thousand a week, which I think is really good for his caliber of player. He'll be an upgrade on Reguilon. I think he can obviously cross and shoot off both feet. And he brings that winning mentality, and hopefully he can mentor Sessegnon now and show him what being a left wing back like him, will be. I think it's a great signing and one where he can cover multiple positions, and he's got that winning mentality where, when the going gets tough and you've got a tough game, players like him, will get into the dressing room and, mentally, I think it's a big step for the club, because we normally sign, young players up and coming in hopefully 5 years' time. But I think we've kind of tried to change our model, which has been great to see, and long may it continue.
Do you think, there's a question here from Steve, from Kerry again. What positions can he play? Do you want to take that one, Steve?
Yeah, sure. So left wing back or left wing typically. But he is two-footed. I'm pretty sure HG said he hasn't played much on the right, but he is pretty two-footed. So, I can't imagine he's going to start on the right, but, injury or, if we're needing an extra time winger and we're needing to change formation late on, it gives us a bit more flexibility. So, again, win-win, and basically everything else what Matt said as well.
Yeah, I think he is right-footed. I've seen him take penalties. I saw on his YouTube roundup. He is right-footed naturally, but he's so good on his left foot. Yeah, so good. A bit like Sonny. He's obviously worked on it so much. Croatians tend to be a bit better, don't they, technically, especially with both feet. And the other thing, he's really tall. Sorry, Matt, go on.
Well, I think I've seen him actually score a penalty with the other foot as well. So I think he did it this season, actually. But yeah, which shows his,
it's just showing off, isn't it?
To try that, to go on your weak foot with a penalty, I think that takes some guts. But
Bobby Zamora used to do it though, didn't he? Because he was left-footed and he started taking penalties with his right foot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite sure how I've managed to link Zamora to Perisic, but there you go. So
unexpected link for the night.
Does this mean that this man is on his way out? Do we expect him to go to Madrid because of this ongoing buyout clause, which I can't see us ever getting 40 odd million for him? Steve?
I don't know. It's like, I don't dislike Reguilon. I think he started off pretty well and then he never really progressed. And I don't know whether that's through injury or hasn't had, the right confidence or coaching. And he's still young. He's what, 23?
I will Google if you keep talking and then Matt can take over.
I'll keep talking very slowly like I normally do. But yeah, I think I wouldn't mind keeping him.
He's 25.
25. Oh, he's older than I thought, actually. Maybe he's 23 when we got him then. But yeah, he's a decent player and he's a decent backup. I don't think he's, again, a first team player anymore. Not with the aspirations we've got. But yeah, like Kerry said, sensible as always. Like, he's young, why not keep him? Like I said, I don't think he's going to go to Madrid. And I don't think we're going to get much money for him. So, yeah, I'd rather lose somebody like, let's see if he erupts in the chat. I'd rather lose somebody like Winx for 25 million rather than Reggie for 25 million.
I don't think anyone's going to argue there, Steve. That's just a given, really. I think we're going to struggle to get 25 million for Winx. What was I going to show?
Value.
Matt, what's your view on this? If he doesn't go to Madrid, who else is likely to buy him? And are we going to get any money for him?
From what I've heard, a rumour, but potentially Juventus are looking at him. Now, the links with obviously Paratici, could there be some form of swap deal with someone like a Weston McKennie, or a position that maybe we need with a bit of money just to get him off maybe the wage bill more than anything? I do like Reguilon, but I just think he just doesn't really see me as a Conte sort of wing back. I think he's got Perisic in now. I think he really sees a lot in Sessegnon. I think the problem with what Reguilon's had is every time sort of Sessegnon got injured, then he's kind of got injured, or like he just can't step up in those moments. I look at the chances that he's had, this season in terms of goal scoring opportunities. I remember the one against Brighton at the Amex where Kane put him through 1-on-1, and I've got a feeling if that's Ivan Perisic, it's probably in the back of the net. That's what he wants his wing backs to do: assist more and score goals. But no, I mean, we probably won't get the 40 million for him, but anywhere close to 30 would be okay, or maybe some form of, sort of swap deal. I think Paratici likes that sort of deal, and I think there are options in this transfer window to do that.
Yeah, a caller is clearly not watching Top Gun. He'd sell Reggie. Sess has a high ceiling. I think that's a fair comment. I think also Reggie's probably got more value in Europe for us to sell him. It might be that he goes on a loan. Because I'm guessing we probably signed him on a 5-year contract. We tend to do that with younger players. So he'll still have 3 years left. So he could do a year's loan, and then we maybe sell him in a year's time if we can't get him sold this summer. Right. Let's move on. So who are we going to talk about next? So rumours. There's so many rumours out there. But let me just find.
Wouldn't be a transfer season if we weren't linked to every single player, would it?
Well, there you go. Jed Spence has been around for a while, isn't he? He's obviously away with England under 21s at the moment. But today, Will Unwin of The Guardian, I'm going to say, because I did look up his Twitter feed. It's just we are closing in on him. And there's now a lot of rumours coming out that we are very close to tying that deal up with Borough, not Forest, because he's a Borough player. Would you be happy with him, Matt?
Yeah, I like him as a player. I know obviously he's a bit controversial with his post the other day of him and the famous picture of him and the cigar, and his sort of beef he has with Warnock and things like that. But maybe he's a character, and maybe we all like these sort of kind of characters like a Romero can be a bit nasty and have a bit of that sort of shithousery type player. And maybe he's that. He's young, he knows the wing back role. He's obviously played under with Middlesbrough. He's gone to Forest, had a good season, got them up to the Premier League. I think it's a smart signing, and the rumour is Conte has really wanted him. So if Conte can turn Victor Moses into a wonder right wing back, then I think he could do. What could he do with someone like Jed Spence, who that's his natural, position?
Yeah.
But like you say, there's a lot of sources out there now, not just the Guardian. I saw TalkSport say it's very close now, and loads of other sources are coming through now. But probably be all wrapped up after the international break, I guess. But no, I think he's a good signing. He scores some goals for Forest, and he's English, so again, it's another homegrown player for us, which I think is important. And maybe hopefully now this is maybe like a future when he gets better. Maybe he could be like our sort of Kyle Walker replacement, who I still don't think we've replaced.
Oh, and there's no doubt we haven't replaced Kyle Walker.
Nope.
That Aurier was a terrible signing.
Yeah.
On many levels. So question here, Phil, one of our patrons, has asked 2 goals and 4 assists in 40-odd games. I think that's in the league, Phil. Is that right? Because I think he scored in the FA Cup as well. Doesn't see much output. Worries me slightly. I guess certain part of that is it depends on the team you're playing in. We know that the way Conte wants our team to play, he will get in positions and have a chance to score. So really, I guess a more interesting stat for us to look at, and I don't have the answer, is how many times has he got into positions to score goals? How many chances has he wasted? Like you said before, Reggie's missed quite a few this season, hasn't he, when he's had good chances, whereas Doherty managed to get in position and score, and we know Perisic is likely to score quite a few goals. So is Spence that player that can, if he gets the chance, tuck it away? Steve, what do you think?
I don't know, and I'm massively on the fence with him. So I think I'm not unhappy if we do sign him, but I'm also not happy if we do sign him. I don't quite understand what the plan is, because he's not good enough to go into our first team. I don't think Doherty's good enough to be our first choice right wing back. Rumours are, and you'd suggest Emerson's probably moving on. So who is our first choice wing back? I can't imagine we'd be signing 2 right wing backs in the same window. Even if we do loan Spence back to Forest, I'd imagine he'd go. That could be the natural place. So I'm kind of excited. I think he's a good player and he's a good talent, and he's the type of player we should be buying. But I don't quite see how it all fits together.
So, Matt, do you know much about Denzel Dumfries from Inter?
Yeah, I know obviously a bit about him. Yeah, I think he's had a good season, but I suppose going back to that comment about 2 goals and 4 assists. I mean, wing backs aren't supposed to get 20 goals and 10 assists. They chip in with Matt Doherty got a couple of goals, didn't he, this season, and a couple of assists. It depends on those 2 goals that he scored could have been vital to Forest season and them coming up. So you want every one of your players to chip in. Those goals and assists can mean a lot. And like you said, John, with better quality in front of him, the likes of Kane and Son, and Conte, if he gets him in early and we have a pre-season with him, you just never know. I remember when the club obviously bought Dele Alli, and then obviously he blew up after a couple of months, didn't he? But yeah, kind of nice for us to go back for these sort of championship players, because we used to do it, quite a lot with with Dele Alli, and you look at why Palace, have brought in Eze and players like that, and they've kind of got used to the league pretty quickly. I think the Championship's quite similar to the Premier League in terms of kind of the intensity and the amount of games there are. Maybe not week in, week out, but in terms of the intensity and how football's played, I thoroughly enjoyed watching Forest this year, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of Dumfries, again, you could say he's a bit hit and miss. It's hard. There's wing backs that that you potentially want. I'd like someone like Hakimi, but it would be a lot of money to prize him away from PSG, I imagine. But I think for me, it's whoever Conte wants, and if he's turned around players like Eric Dyer, Ben Davies, Matt Doherty. We would never have thought that. So what could he do with someone potentially that I suppose he wants? If it's Dumfries or Jed Spence, I'm happy with either. And maybe Jed Spence comes in and Dumfries comes in and then Doherty goes, because Dumfries would be the bit more experienced. But obviously I think he plays for the Dutch team. I think he starts. He scored a couple of goals in the last Euros or World Cup.
He did,
one they were in. He's a good player going forward, and he can score goals. And I think he knows how to get into positions. He knows how to play the right wing back role, the same as Jed Spence. So I think as long as we get someone who can play in that role and not a right back, someone who can play right wing back and knows the positional play already, it'll be a lot easier. Someone who can play in that role and not a right back.
Oh, just echo.
May have been me.
Okay. So I'm just gonna pause on that for a second, because Sam, one of our channel members, put a question in for you, Steve, a little while ago. And before I lose it in the comments, a question for you. A few videos ago, you went to Hotspur Way. You got a nice little tour, and you suggested it might be doubling in size. Can you expand, please? Is this for the number of people, or is it to do the Women's Academy, or is it to do? I think it might be to the Boys Academy. Can you explain?
Yeah, of course. So the overall site isn't going to double. Women's Academy, which I was a bit confused about, is apparently already built. I thought that was still being built, but that's been built. It's the Men's Academy or Boys Academy they're expanding. So I think it was Leicester and Liverpool came for a tour, liked what they saw Hotspur away, went back and have spent a lot of money on their academies. So Daniel Levy wasn't having that. And so he's expanding ours effectively. I think it's tripling in size, they told me. It's quite an investment, which we need because walking down
Is this land we already own?
Yeah, they're just building buildings.
Right.
All it is construction. So I don't know what headcount, and we've got one new headcount in, which I guess we'll talk about later. Well, I know we will, because it's on the run sheet. But yeah, it's just new buildings. So I'm assuming I can have more coaches and more people in the academy.
Right. Okay. There you go, Sam. Hope that answered your question. Let's get rid of that. So, who we got next? Sven Abotman, being heavily linked with Newcastle in January and also now, but he's also been linked with us, Manchester United, Chelsea. What do we know, Matt, about Sven?
I know he's very good at, last season when he was in the team when Lille won the Ligue 1 Championship, he was one of the star defenders in terms of progressing the ball forward, and he's a good ball carrying defender, kind of like Romero is. He's obviously naturally left-footed. One thing I will say, he's not the quickest. He doesn't really have that sort of turn of pace, and he can get turned. And I'm really not sure about the French league. We've bought from the French league quite a lot, and it never seems to, I suppose, turn out well. I just think it's not a farmers league, but it's just a bit weaker, and they're not. I don't know if he'd be quite used to the pace of the Premier League. I'm not too sure.
Okay, Steve, do you know much about Botman?
I'm not too excited, but he is left-footed. He is a centre back, and he is tall and he is young. But everything's going to feel. This is typical us, isn't it? We go, or we're rumoured to go for somebody, absolute Rolls Royce just to annoy Caller, and we end up with somebody a little bit less. So. He's a decent player. I don't know how much more decent he is than Davis, other than younger.
Davis is not the quickest, is he? But he's got experience and knows how to play that role. So, yeah. Do Lille play 4 at the back or a back 3? Do you know, Matt?
I think in the title winning season, I think they were playing 3. I haven't watched them much this season. I know they have struggled a bit more this season. Yeah, maybe they go from a 3 and or to a 4-2-3-1.
If he's 6 foot and 52 inches, then obviously he's going to struggle. He's not going to be the fastest because that's quite tall. But thanks for the update.
Hold on, he's 6 foot and 52 inches.
Read the comment from Adrian.
Okay.
Thanks for the typo, Adrian. Anyway, apparently too slow for a left centre back. So I think interesting you say about the progressing the ball, because obviously our right and left centre backs need to be able to carry the ball out and bring it forward, as we saw Romero do a lot at times, although he gets told off by Dyer for going walkabout, isn't it? At certain points.
I do love a Romero walkabout, particularly late on in the game.
Oh yeah.
He's out there watching a game, and it's like he's further forward than Kane, which isn't always saying much because Kane's deep. But sometimes, he'll be in the 6-yard box of the opposing team.
But then sometimes, you take example the Leicester goal that we scored from his tackle. He was right up the pitch. So without him sometimes doing those mad things, it's we don't get a goal from that. So.
And I think we all loved that tackle, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Mark Cucurella. Now, Matt, you are a near to Brighton resident, so I'll let you talk about Cucurella. Is this going to happen?
So, in my household, they're all kind of Brighton season ticket holders. So I've been to watch him a couple of times as well. No, don't get me wrong. He's a great player, and I don't know how they did it, but they just got him out of thin air. I think it's about 12 million they paid for him. But yeah, no, he's a good player. I think he'd be a good. He can either play left centre back or a left wing back. Towards the end when Brighton went on their mad run, he sort of converted into a left centre back, kind of like Davies does for us. But I think for me, I think the money. I look at the way Brighton handled with Ben White, and that Arsenal paid 50 million for him, and then that he was never quite the same. It's hard with Cucurella. I think he's a really good player, but he's only had one season. So I think next season people will try and work him out a bit more. I kind of think he's a bit like if we did get him, he'd be a bit another Asua Kotu, wouldn't he, with his hair?
Big
I
hair.
can imagine him scoring a screamer and then now and again. But no, I think for me, I think we've got to prioritise different. Get a left wing back, which we did in Perisic, and we got Sessegnon. To be honest, I'd rather go for someone maybe like a Pau Torres in left centre back than someone like Cucurella. I think 50 million is quite a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. He's going to City, isn't he? So a few names here: Inacio, Pau Torres, Gvardiol, Bastoni, Lisandro Martinez, all better than Botman. Obviously, the suggestion is Bastoni staying where he is. Now, there's a little bit of me thinks that's not the end of the story, that he might move, but the agent has apparently said he ain't going, so we move on, I guess. Pau Torres would make the most sense.
Pretty conclusive if his agent has said no.
Yeah. And I think as well for the club, I don't think we can afford to muck around too much with this. I think, he's made his decision and he obviously he wants to stay at Inter. You got to sometimes respect, the player's decision. And you can't ever go at the Tottenham board for it because it looks like we really did try for him and wanted to put the money forward. So, but what I wouldn't want us doing is keep dithering and going, oh, maybe we'll go back in for him. And then, it gets to the middle of July and we still haven't signed a left centre back.
Yeah, well, supposedly Conte wanted everyone signed by pre-season.
Yeah, exactly.
And they go to career on the 10th of July or something.
Yeah, and you'll have other teams sniffing around for him, so we've got to act quick.
Yeah, I mean the interesting thing is the Inter CEO, and I've forgotten his name now, Morota, Giuseppe Morota. He's allegedly in London. A lot of rumours on Twitter. Obviously, we know everything on Twitter's true. Now he could be meeting with Spurs. He could be meeting with Chelsea, or even the red people down the road from Woolwich. Or he could just be coming to Italy, play at Wolves tomorrow, because that's where England... Did you know England are playing at Molineux tomorrow, Steve?
I did not.
Yeah.
I have less than zero interest in international football. I find it mind-numbingly dull, so I never watch it.
It's probably because Gareth Southgate plays the most defensive football, like almost Jose football at times, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
also because we know, whatever Kane does, if Kane scores a hat trick, he gets slated by
disrespected.
Half the not so much press, but half the other fans. And then if he doesn't score, then he's the worst player ever to play for England. So
right, okay. Well, you've brought it up, so I'm going to just put that there. That he scored his 50th goal the other night. 15 of them have been penalty. Say again?
I wish it wasn't a penalty.
Well, do you know what? It was a last-minute penalty. There's as much pressure on that as it's probably harder to score that than the shot he missed about 2 minutes later.
Against Neuer as well, I was a bit worried. He's a big keeper, isn't he, Neuer? So he absolutely schooled him. He just went, have that, right in the corner. But no, he's a great player. I think I read a stat that he's got to 50 goals the quickest out of someone. I think the only one behind him is Neymar. I think Ronaldo and Messi took a lot longer to get to.
Yeah. I saw that stat earlier as well.
There has to be respect there, doesn't there?
It's decent. Also, Cameron has he's called my bluff. Yeah, Cameron, during the World Cup time, I get slightly into England. I'm one of those fair weather England fans. I kind of wait for a few games into the qualify into the group stage, see whether we're going to be trash or not, and then I'm England till I die. I'm always Tottenham till I die. I'm only England till I die when we play well.
What you're going to see is England will get better as time goes on in the tournament. If they can get through the group stage, which they should do this one, then they will get better. What we need to see, and I think Southgate gets a lot of unfair criticism, being that he's got England to a semi-final and a final in the last two tournaments.
Yep.
But you just want his in-game management to be a bit better to make those decisions right. In the final against Italy, completely he just didn't. He didn't react quick enough, did he?
He didn't change, did he? He should have learned his lesson from the final in the semi-final in the World Cup.
Yeah,
you try and learn from your mistakes, but I don't know. Sometimes I just think he's not quick enough with his in-game management, and I think the way he misuses players as well. Mason Mount is not a right winger, or.
No.
And then the problem with that is you have someone like Kane who drops even deeper or out to the wing to try and get the ball and try and create something. And it's just certain players who don't get in. Players like James Maddison, who've had a good season, at Leicester, and we're crying out for a creative player who can put the ball in behind. And you just keep picking the same kind of players. I think he is stuck in his own way a little bit.
Yeah, we had Gary Stevens on Brendan and I did a pod with Gary Stevens before the Brighton game when Trossard scored that late goal, and we were asking him particularly about Chris Hughton, obviously the links with Brighton.
Yeah.
And let me just take this off. And we asked the question, why do you think it didn't work for Chris? And obviously Potter's come in and done well, and the same at Forest with Steve Cooper's replaced him, done very well. And Gary said, without sort of being harsh to Chris, he's a little bit like Gary is, in a bit old school and maybe a little bit set in the ways. And maybe Gareth's a little bit on that line. He's a very good politician to a certain degree, isn't he? He speaks very well. He's clearly very intelligent, but I think sometimes you just want him to take that bit more of a risk with England. But yeah, anyway, we'll come off England now. I just want to put up Brandon, one of our patrons, comment. Have we decided how we're going to spend the season? Cameron Carter-Vickers war chest yet? The rumour has it that it's 6 million was the deal at the end of the loan. They had 2 weeks, I think, to tie that deal up. And then up to another 4 million in add-ons, which probably means they've got to get to a Champions League semi-final or even win it. But whoever thought we'd get at least 6 million for Cameron Carter-Vickers? I'm going to ask you, Matt, because Steve's drinking his gin.
Yeah, I first of all, I just want to, I suppose, wish Cameron the best. And, it's just, unfortunately, he just wasn't good enough to play, for Spurs. But he's been really good, for Celtic. Actually, he scored a couple of goals and he's been part of their title-winning team. So, I want to wish him good luck and all the best. But, I think just to get him off the books finally, it just shows the club is, changing. We're not just keeping these players for the sake of it. It's really time to rip it up and, have the, hate to use the word, but rebuild, but this is part of it, getting rid of players that, and I don't know what wages he was on, but that takes 20 or 30,000 off the wage bill, doesn't it? And then you can look to, bring other people in, or you subsidise certain things. 6 million more than we, didn't have. I think it's a good deal, great deal for Celtic, and good deal for us. And I wish him that.
You finished your gin? You're sipful, Steve?
I have. What he said. Like he's a good player. He's not good enough for us, but I think he's been playing well for them, hasn't he? So, and he seems like a nice kid. So I wish him well. If we do meet again, I don't wish him well for that game, but other than that, I wish him well. And again, like Matt said, 6 million quid we wouldn't have had otherwise. So,
but of course we can, get another 500k now for Winx, as Gov said there. It's all relative. Gov, you sure caller hasn't stolen your login? 7 years of Cameron Carter-Vickers. I mean, bless him, he's been on more loans than most Chelsea youth products we've never heard of, hasn't he? Who will be our centre back in pre-season? Because that was always Cameron's job when all the other players have been on international duty. Is Japhet Tanganga the new Cameron Carter-Vickers? Do you think he's going to end up? Do you think that?
Yeah.
Do you think Tanganga's good enough?
I think he can be good enough. I think he can be taught. I think you saw at the beginning of Conte, he quite liked him and he was using him, quite a bit. You got to remember Tanganga was part of the team when we obviously beat Leicester and that famous, Bergwijn 2 goals, and he was quite a vital part of the beginning. So he's a squad player, and there are teams in Italy that are kind of looking at him. And you kind of look what Chelsea did with Tomori, and how much of a great player he's been for AC Milan, and it's probably great business for Chelsea because they can probably go and sell him on now for 20 or 30 million more because he's been one of England's probably best defenders, and apart from Eric Dyer. But I've watched a lot of Milan as well because they've kind of come back to the fold a little bit and they're a bit more of an exciting team. But Tomori's been a great part of that team. So maybe Tanganga does need a proper loan. Maybe if it's abroad, it's abroad. But ideally, maybe another Premier League team. Maybe maybe someone like Fulham or Forest could maybe just want to use him for a season, and slot him in. I don't see why not. I suppose the other thing you have is Tanganga could be taught in pre-season how to play kind of a right wing back type role. I remember his famous run. I think it was against Middlesbrough when we were at home in the FA, and he went on that marauding run, and then he did great skill, and then he just missed the goal, didn't he? I think, but
Yeah,
he's got an engine on him, and he's a good player. But I think Tanganga, whether it be the new Cameron Carter-Vickers, I think he could be a bit better than that. But we've seen flashes of him being good, haven't we? So he just needs to stay injury free.
Yeah, I mean, there's been suggestions of him going alone, possibly to Inter, which will, I guess the Italian defenders are supposed to be the best ones, so it'd be a good place to learn. What do you think of Tanganga, Steve?
Not good enough. I was really excited when he came through. I mean, it kind of always hurts me deep down when I agree with him. But yeah, I agree with Davo. But also, I think this can be trained out, but he's a bit rash. He's got a red card in him, as we've seen. So, Romero had a lot of yellows in him, and as soon as callers started betting on him getting yellow cards, they stopped. So
yeah, there is that. Absolutely,
can be trained out for you, but he's not good enough, and I don't think he's. If we're trying to aspire to be one of the top clubs, he doesn't get onto our bench.
Okay. Who are we looking at next? Clement Lenglet, the French left-sided centre-back. Matt, we had a chat about him before. What are your thoughts on Lenglet?
I think he was good when he first went to Barcelona. I think he has really struggled to acclimatise and adapt. I think my problem with him, I know he's on quite a high wage at Barcelona. So whether he's going to demand a big loan fee or Barcelona will, that would be my, I suppose, only worry. But there is an option for a 1-year loan. So, I mean, it wouldn't be harmful, would it? If you could say, you could just have, I don't know, maybe it's just another centre-back to have in the team with that sort of experience. He's French, European as well. So I'm not against it, but I wouldn't be like massively excited with it.
Yeah. Do you see this happening, Steve?
I hope not. I really hope not. I remember a few years back, we always used to sign him on Football Manager, and he was decent, but he's one of those players. He doesn't seem to have progressed, and I don't know how much game time he's had. I don't think it's a lot, like you're saying, Matt, but I'm not particularly excited.
No. So I've just lost. Russ is saying that Sky have reported that we are in advanced talks with Jed Spence from Middlesbrough. But obviously, like you said, he's on international duty. So if we can agree a fee with Borough, I'm imagining we've probably discussed with his agent the general terms.
Yeah.
So maybe it can happen. We never know.
I always find Sky are a bit far behind as well. Like, you can hear a story and then 4 hours later, Sky come out and go, he's in advanced talks.
Breaking news.
Yeah, I mean, there is the thing is they might try and, before they go out with it, they might try and confirm it through more than one source. But
it's a bit like Fabrizio, isn't it? Romano always comes out, quite late in the day, but he's normally pretty trustworthy. Hold on, is your backdrop my photo?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Well, I used to have the backdrop that's now the main backdrop, and I thought that just looks weird.
It does look a bit egotistical, doesn't it? If your main backdrop.
Yeah, so I changed to your one.
Fair.
That you kindly let me use. Right. This is a good point. With Rodon and Sanchez looking like they've been moved on, we need to bring 3 centre-backs in if we're getting rid of Tanganga. Rodon had another really good game for Wales on Sunday. I didn't watch Wednesday's game because I was watching Becky's show. What's your view on Rodon, Matt?
Yeah, I like him as a player. I have to say, I did think he did play well against Ukraine, but there was that sort of moment where he got turned or someone put the ball in behind him and he didn't have a clue where the guy was going. And I think that might be his problem. I think he's got he switches off at key times. I think it's why, Mourinho tried to use him and then it kind of didn't work. Ryan Mason tried and that didn't work. Nuno didn't fancy him, and Conte doesn't really fancy him. But he kind of maybe again he needs a loan. I think for Swansea, actually under Graham Potter, ironically, he played as a left centre back, which is why I was a bit surprised when Conte came in. He didn't really give him a chance, but he played against. Did he play against Morecambe when we played him?
Yeah, so apparently he broke their big centre back broke his ribs in the first 5 minutes of that game.
Yeah, because he really struggled that game, didn't he? But maybe it was a broken ribs. Yeah, fair play for even carrying on. But yeah, no, it will be an interesting one with Rodon. Maybe a loan, or I think we could easily get our fee back for him. I can't see us not being able to get 15 million for him.
Yeah, I mean there was obviously big links with Brighton a year ago when Ben White was leaving to go to Arsenal.
Yeah.
But nothing came of it. I mean, Conte's been quite positive about him.
I was shocked because I thought Potter would actually fancy him to come back, but he's sort of moved on. So
the only link I've seen has been Forest, but obviously Cooper was his manager for a while at Swansea as well. So that could make sense. It's how much money Forest have got, or whether a loan to there would make sense for all parties, I think. Steve? Oh, sorry.
Either want us to play Rodon in bit part games, or I want him moved on, and mainly because I think he's a decent player and he deserves to play. He's not going to be one of our starting centre backs, but I think he's a good player. He's a bit like Ben Davis, isn't he? Like, he doesn't seem to cause any issues in the team. Just kind of cracks on with it. So if you're not going to play him, I hope we move him on, even if it is a loan.
Davo's not well, but he's been cheeky. Fabrizio Romano's confirmed Kane to Munich for Oktoberfest.
He's been very cheeky as well. He's asking if I'm being Vera Lynn or somebody. I don't know who that person is.
You don't know who Vera Lynn is?
We've already discussed.
Even I know who that is.
I'm terrible at celebrities.
We'll meet again. Don't worry. Born to Lose, there is talk of Rodon going to.
I feel like that was a hint.
Yes, I'll sing to you later, darling. Right, what we got next on this? Pau Torres. We haven't really talked about him, and obviously a possible swap move for this man, who obviously Villarreal love, and we don't seem to love anymore. He's obviously going to go somewhere. Does it make sense? But how often do these swap deals happen? I can only really think of Lamela for Brian. Is this likely to happen, Matt?
I do have a feeling it will. I think we'd probably have to obviously give them the sell and maybe give 20 to 30 million on top for Pau Torres, which, but I think it could be a gamble worth taking. I think he's worth 55 million, Pau Torres, allegedly, isn't he? And obviously we rumoured to put a big amount of money down for Bastoni. So I think if you can put 65 million down for Bastoni, then get the Celso off the bill. Villarreal get their player. And if you put maybe 20, 25 million on top, I don't think they'd say no, to be honest. I think it'd be a no-brainer. He's very good at bringing the ball out from the back, pretty good in the air. He hasn't got the best turn of pace. Well, I remember when Laporte came in from, to City, and that's kind of worked. He's acclimatised really well. I think it's a good deal for all parties. I suppose we'll have to wait and see, but I think it could be done. And I think Lo Celso's a good player, but I just don't think you just get those players that don't suit the Premier League, and he's one of them.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Caller was calling for Pau Torres last year. He obviously was in the birthing ward when Pau Torres was born, a bit like Oliver Skipp. What do you know much about him, Steve?
Yeah, a reasonable amount, and it's the deal that makes sense, isn't it? Because yes, swap deals don't often happen, but Chelsea is already playing for them. We need a defender. Pau Torres fits the mold perfectly what we need, and it looks like they're willing to sell. So I think it's very plausible. I think it's most likely. Plus, outside of the Premier League, there is not a lot of there's not a lot of cash floating about. other than a few other top clubs. So I think we are going to see some more of these swap deals going on.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that might hold it back is that Villarreal didn't qualify for Europe. From the looks of it, they finished 7th in the in La Liga, so they obviously will need some money.
Yep.
So that might help the Pau Torres sale. Whether they've got enough cash to pay for GLC as well, or whether it's just another loan as part of the deal. But clearly, we were willing to spend money on Bastoni, so we've got this 150 million, or up to, as Dave wants me to say, sat there, plus whatever we've earned this year, plus whatever we can bring in from player sales. Obviously, 6 million. Realistically, it's 1.5 million for Carter Vickers, isn't it? Because that will be split over 4 years. That fee.
Yeah.
Right. I think. Craig's made a good point here. I'm starting a back three of Bastoni or Torres with Koulibaly and Romero, with Davis, Dyer, and Tanganga's back up as a major upgrade. Koulibaly was linked. We were linked with him, I'm going to say 2 years ago, I think. I don't think it was last year. I mean, he's 29, 30. And even when he was 28, 29, Napoli were asking big money for him. Can we see us spending 50 plus million on a player that's in late 20s, early 30s, Steve?
No. I mean, I think we've changed our strategy a little bit in terms of Perisic. Clearly, we are going to be buying older players, even if they're on a freebie. But I cannot imagine we'll be spending that amount of money on somebody that old.
Yeah, he turns 31 in 10 days. So, I mean, Dave's been cheeky. I don't think we're going to pay big money transfer fee for Bale. He's on a free transfer, but he's going to probably not coming, is he? Matt Gibbons likes him. Oh, there you go.
We all like him.
Got 1 year left in his contract. It won't be expensive. So what would you be willing to pay for Koulibaly? Bear in mind, he's almost 31, Steve.
Probably about that, to be honest. His age, $1 million.
Fair enough. What, in euros? Have you noticed we seem to get linked with? We were linked with Jed Spence in euros, not in pounds, the other day. Is this just because there's only Italian journalists who seem to be able to report on this? There's a lot of this.
Well, I wonder if there's a reason why Italian journalists seem to have occurred since Paratici came in. Yeah, I mean around 30 million quid, I think would be pretty fair. And again, a bit like Perisic, he's a good player, a lot of experience, and I think would help us out a lot. I mean, we still have a bit of Spursiness about us, and we still need to win something. So, I'll take him for 30. I wouldn't take him for 50.
Okay, Matt, do you want to respond to Davo's question?
I think there have been. There's always been links with Koulibaly. But, the player might have been happy at Napoli, and but I think, like you said, John, I think a lot of the foreign clubs have actually got to sell because they don't make anywhere near as much money as the Premier League teams with the TV rights and everything like that. I'm in agreement with Steve. I think 25, 30 million. I think he plays like a central centre-back role. So, I mean, could he be an upgrade on Dyer? Could he, give him competition as well? He's an absolute beast. I know that. Like, I think he suits the Premier League to a T. He's big, he's strong, good in the air. I'd have it. And I have heard that they are maybe trying to talk to his agents and things like that. So maybe it's one we'll have to see. But I'm sure Paratici's got his. I'm sure he's got a lot of deals lined up ready, and it's just about what ones kind of go off, and if Conte gives him the green light.
Absolutely, we know that he has 2 or 3 at least in each position running at one time, doesn't he?
But I think Levy would love Koulibaly, wouldn't he? Because do we still have to pay per letter for the shirts?
Probably.
Top selling shirts. That's going to be what? Kane and Son. I mean, he must hate Son. 3 letters, right? So Koulibaly is going to make an absolute fortune out of.
I think he lets Son off for the number of shirts we sell in South Korea. I think he lets him off for that. He's all right.
True.
Yeah, he does all right. I wouldn't be surprised if he's Heung-min's son coming towards the end of his career just for Levy to get a few more quid out of people.
Yeah, absolutely. Born to Lose says Napoli always want top dollar for their players and are a nightmare to do business with. So that will be interesting. The important questions, Dave. Thank you very much. Should Paratici invest in some AirPods? He's very wired like me. Maybe Paratici can buy me some AirPods.
Well, we had this debate, didn't we, about HG? Because HG is traveling to US, I think, isn't he? California or somewhere to go.
Yes, he's going to California.
And he may be buying some AirPods. And Caller and I had a debate. He should wait. So, Paratici, if you're listening, and I'm sure you are, you should wait until September when the new ones come out, and maybe Gov can tell you a bit more about that.
So I just seen that Todd Bowley has apparently instructed Chelsea to submit a contract offer to Koulibaly. So we could end up in a bit of a bidding war because obviously Chelsea have lost half their centre backs this summer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably not what Mr. Levy's going to want.
Genuine question: where try and take some bias out of it? If it's an equal offer, where would you go? If it's us or Chelsea?
Are we going to offer the same wages Chelsea would, though?
If.
But I think what you got to remember is it's not Abramovich anymore. He's not just going to go, you're going to go on 300 grand a week. And, we don't know what this Todd Bowley's like, I think it'll be interesting to kind of see. But he's obviously a player high on the, agenda of Chelsea are sniffing around. But, we've got Champions League football to offer as well. I kind of say top elite manager. You can't eat like Tuchel is as well. But, Chelsea are probably losing a lot of players. We're kind of gaining players, and maybe we've got that better reputation with player welfare and things like that. You could take Koulibaly to go and speak to someone, like a Tamori or someone in that league who's played under Chelsea, and he could tell them what they're really like. You just never know. But I always feel with Paratici and Conte there, I think we could get a lot of the Serie A sort of players. I think they'd be more inclined to come. And I think with players like Kulusevski and Bentancur who've already come from that league, maybe there's a conversation there as well. So, and Romero obviously as well. So,
yeah, we've definitely seemed to have a good track record recently from Italy, whereas the Spanish signings haven't fared so well, have they? All the French signings. Yeah. Cameron's commented saying, obviously Chelsea have lost their line, so they'll definitely be bidding against it, which is annoying. Cameron is going to be making his Cheese Room debut next Friday, another one of our Patreons. So look out for that. Right, where are we at? Pau Torres. Right, Dave's written Alvaro Morata. Spurs have joined the race with Arsenal and Newcastle. Well, they can just jog on and we'll just move away from Morata, I think, is my personal opinion. Matt agrees. Steve, what's your thoughts on Morata?
Why would we want him?
Well, we still don't have a backup to Kane. That would be the only justifiable reason.
Yeah, but he doesn't score many goals.
Exactly. And he played at Chelsea as well. And how many did he score? Didn't score many, did he? He
scored against us, annoyingly.
Well, of course he did, yeah. No, he's good in the air, obviously, but no, he came from Real Madrid. He's played at Juventus. He's played at Atletico Madrid. All these top clubs. Why haven't they permanently tried to sign him? Because he's not good enough. And there's a perfectly good player out there like I like Gabriel Jesus. I think he could do a much better job for us. But it's just whether he'd want to try and be a squad player, or maybe he thinks he can try and. If I'm Jesus, you're playing for Man City. You must be confident in your ability to go. I can challenge Son or Kane and go in that position, or I could try and challenge, Kulusevski on that right wing, because naturally, what Jesus does, what Morata doesn't, is he can play on the left wing, right wing, centre forward, striker. So I think in terms of Conte wanting to, if he needs to change a game or change a formation, it would naturally suit us to get a player like that, and especially if Bergwijn goes out the door, I don't think it would be a bad upgrade. I think I'd steer well clear of Morata for me.
There are 115 people watching and only 65 likes. Please, can you help us out? Get us to that 100 mark. Hit that little thumbs up button. It does help our algorithms, gets the show out there more. We want to get bigger and bigger. We're producing more shows, and we started the Wednesday show, and Becky did very well on her debut. We've also got Seb's Sunday Transfer Talk coming out every Sunday, unless he goes on holiday, at 6 p.m. And he will be back. I think he's recording it tomorrow. and that'll be back on Sunday. It was I don't know if you saw that, Matt. It was a very good sort of snappy 15-20-minute show where he went through all the potential links, looked at their stats. Very factual based.
I've been quite busy with work, but I have to check that out.
That'll be back on Sunday at 6 o'clock, I think it is, Steve, or 8 o'clock. But just keep an eye. If you subscribe to the channel, you get notifications. Simple.
Is that slander or libel? I can't remember which one is written from Dave in the chat, insinuating that I'm posh and I go dining in Chelsea.
That's written is libel, slander is verbal.
So it's a libel.
I mean, Dave does have a law degree, so he should know that.
Dave, that is an absolute lie. The next time I'll be dining in Chelsea will be on Sunday when I go to the Polo. The Spurs very oddly are taking us to the Polo. I can't quite work out the link there. A load of football fans going Polo should be fun.
Steve Diver is a man of the people, everyone.
I am. As am I with Caller as well. But here comes Lloyd Harris. Caller and I might be going to White Hart Lane soon. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium soon, I should say.
When do you mean soon? As in before the season starts?
In about 3 weeks' time.
Oh, okay. For any specific reason, you're going to go off the back?
Guns N' Roses.
Oh, of course, right.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, good times.
Caller is tempting me.
Is he?
Words I've never said before, right?
Dave's delighted about you going to the Polo.
I'll send you photos of the afternoon tea, Dave. You'll love that.
We must get Dave on to talk about the time that he served a writ on a very big football organisation. Next time you're on, Dave, can you tell us that story? Right, where are we at? Let's get back to the show. Shall we? Oh, backroom staff changes. So apparently we're signing the Rangers chief scout Andy Scolding as the assistant performance director ahead of next season. He'll work along Paratici. I did read a very strange line that he'll have, although he's currently a scout, he'll have nothing to do with recruitment, which seemed a bit odd to me.
I read that. I don't know if that's true. Doesn't really make much sense, does it? You hired as a scout, but you got no influence in recruiting.
Steve,
odd.
Any insight?
I've messaged a few people and they've all dutifully given me the double blue ticks on WhatsApp and nobody's replying. So, I mean, let's say it's positive. Like because we got one of the senior scouts, didn't we, a while back from Chelsea. We've got this chap from Rangers who is going to do some made-up job title that I'm not quite sure what it makes.
Assistant performance director.
I mean, do we have a performance director? So I don't know who he's assisting. But we need to increase our backroom staff, right? Because our scouting and whatever he ends up doing, our scouting is terrible. The amount of money we waste.
Compared to him, he did help with the rebuild of Rangers as well. That's
fair point.
There were some good players when Gerrard was there and over those years. So they got to a European final obviously this year. So
they did.
He must have a good indication, of what he's doing. And maybe he'll tell Paratici and about players coming up, and then it's kind of if maybe they look into him more and get the final say. But I agree with Steve. I think you've got to increase your backroom staff. You look at Liverpool, City, all the top clubs. I mean, they have loads of different kind of backroom staff who, City always win the league, and at the end, there's about 50 different staff who come out and celebrate with them. So it's a team effort at the end of the day.
That's true. Interesting. Caller said that performance director was Steve I Hate January Hitchin. So whether we're going to replace him and this guy's going to come in as number 2, Sam is suggesting he's a performance analyst. Isn't that what Conte's brother does?
Yeah, it's a video analysis of players and other teams, and then he relays it back to Conte, I think.
Yeah, I mean, so maybe it's looking at our players doing that effectively, but I thought we did that already. Don't know.
We do, but I guess more people's good.
Yeah,
There's no
absolutely.
saying there's too many chefs, right?
Different set of eyes, different perspective, isn't it? So,
Right.
Yeah,
Shall we have
transfers.
right? Let's get back to the transfers. Who is stupid enough to take this man? Matt, where's he going?
This
Is he going to
needs
be
more
training
to be back.
with the youth team?
I think Jose Mourinho will take a gamble on him. If he stays at Roma, that's what I know. He likes him as a player, and he can see. I think he'd suit the Italian league. To be honest, it's a lot slower. He can kind of play his game more naturally. Yeah, I don't care where he goes, mate. Just get him out.
Yeah,
we were stupid enough to buy players like Sissoko, so and Winx. So, well, not Winx, but players that we've signed before, Janssen, Salgado. So clubs make mistakes, don't they? But yeah, I mean,
we've made a lot.
Yeah, if you're a club looking at him and you want him, I mean, you just have to see his attitude. It's shocking. Such a shame because he's such a good footballer in terms of ability, and he really could have been one of our top midfielders. But he doesn't have it up there, and maybe that's why teams like City in the end didn't go for him when we were linked. Well, obviously when we got him, maybe they saw something and scouted a bit more and said, yeah, he's got an attitude problem.
I think it's a mental thing because clearly he has the talent.
Yeah.
I did notice in his first season he often got a whack in the first 20 minutes and he'd disappear. As soon as, and the teams knew it. It was obvious. Go and clatter him and he won't play. And it did. Mourinho, to be fair to him, one of the things Mourinho did do was got him playing a little bit.
Yeah.
But
he was lazy though, wasn't he? Like he'd tire easy. He could never complete 90 minutes.
Yeah. And he didn't influence games enough.
No.
He should be running games with the talent he has.
We saw glimpses of it, didn't we? He obviously got his, but it wasn't enough.
No, absolutely. Daniel Harrison suggesting Watford might take it. Well, especially if it's the deal like
not on 200 grand a week. I'll probably bankrupt the club.
Oh. Well, obviously they got away with no transfer fee for Sissoko, didn't they? Because they got relegated.
But I think wherever he goes, he's going to have to take a pay cut, probably.
Yeah. Hello. There you go. Steve Ndombele. What's going to happen to him?
I mean, who's going to take him? We've dug ourselves into a hole, haven't we? We've got exactly that. Brilliant on his day, but his day didn't come around very often. Earns an absolute shed load. We're never going to get the 55 million or whatever he spent for him back, and he's got a lazy reputation. At least players like Giovanni Lo Celso, he tried. He didn't quite work out, but he tried and he put some effort in. Like we all say about lower level and slower leagues, but he hasn't exactly torn it up this season, has he? So I don't know.
I mean, he looked quite good against West Ham in the game at London Stadium, although they were down to 10 men.
I thought we played well against when we played Liverpool and it was 2-2. He got the assist for Kane's goal, wasn't it? That was Conte's one of his first home games or second home proper games.
Yeah.
But there's been flashes and I think there will be a team that will take him, but we won't get the money back for him. We'll have to take a massive cut. But I think just get him out. Just get him out. We did it with Dele Alli where we had to be ruthless and almost kind of pay him out. Just get him out.
Yeah.
So
Are there any professional five-a-side teams? Because as a five-a-side player, imagine playing against him in five-a-side. He doesn't need to run. He's bloody skillful. He's got a good shot and a good pass.
He's a futsal player, isn't he? Like you could see him doing
Yeah. I mean, I have to say, Steve, when I've played five-a-side, I probably work harder than I do on a full-size pitch because you're so much.
He won't get up and down, will he?
Yeah, he'll just stand in the centre circle.
Yeah. To be fair, he probably would boss it, but
I mean, George is saying that we should tear up his contract. If only it was that easy. Matt Gibbons, take the hit, move on. I think we all agree with that. And the bit of hope I have is the fact that Levy did do that with Dele, as Steve just mentioned. Catering under 12s are in for him. I'm pretty sure Kettering under 12s will still run harder than he does. Sell him to Caller's team. Do you reckon he'd get injured as much as a Caller, Steve?
Literally impossible. I mean, Caller's the only person I ever know who plays football who scores 87 goals, sets up 20, and then gets injured for a week every single game. We need to strap GoPro to him because something doesn't add up.
What we got? I'm quite surprised. I guess he's on international duty that this hasn't been done yet. Still not going to Ajax. Is this another one that once we get past this weekend and all these games are out of the way, think we might see a bit of a domino effect, Matt?
Yeah, I think so. I think players are just all over the country at the moment, and agents are probably all over the place, and the player can't, be with his agent and have a chat with him because they're probably all over different countries in this Nations League competition. But it's just if Ajax pay the money, we sell him. I think I think it's like 20, maybe just over 20 million, isn't it? We want, I think, which I don't think's a bad fee for that type of player. It'd be a shame for him to go, but he's come out and said he wants to go. There is kind of no way back for him, is there really? And unless it's the World Cup year as well, he needs to start games, and Ajax seems like the good place. But I mean, I have a Palace and Brighton are sniffing round, but I mean, he'll go to Ajax most likely, I think.
Yeah, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, he'll probably go to Ajax, and I think he'll do well. Like, he's a good player. I wish we started him more, but I think, like we said before, it's pretty clear Conte sees him more as a Kane replacement rather than Son or Kulusevski. So I don't think he's going to get game time. But again, I think he's a good player.
So this is from Seb's stream from last week, so it's a bit out of date. There's been links with Winx possibly going to Everton. Can you? I find that a strange one personally. I don't know why Everton would want to take him unless it's on a loan. What are your thoughts, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, Everton need a lot more than Winx in their midfield, don't they? But yeah, I haven't heard many links with Brighton. I know they play good football, but I think they've got much better midfielders than him already.
Yeah, agree with that.
I could probably see Southampton, to be honest. He could slot in there quite nicely. He knows Carl Walker-Peters. We've got that kind of relationship with Southampton as well, where we do deals. They give us players, we kind of give them our rejects.
Yeah.
Or, players who are kind of, just being cast away. But he could suit someone like Southampton, but he just needs to go somewhere and play, consistent football. He's just not built for a top 4 or even top 6 side, I don't think.
Caller wants a Winx mind quiz. I think quiz rather than quid when he goes, as Dave did Lamella mind, didn't he? Which was very successful. I think we all agree. Who else we got to discuss? Oh, I'll tell you whose 2 weeks must be up. Surely it's been the longest 2 weeks ever. Christian Eriksen said he'd give Brentford an answer within 2 weeks. I'm guessing that must be Sunday or Monday. Do we think he's going to be a Spurs player next season, Matt?
I'm going to go yes. I think he will. From what I've heard, the progressions, it's progressed quite well. And he wants to play Champions League football again. And I think he feels like he's got unfinished business at Spurs. He knows Conte. I'd love to see him back, to be honest. I just think, he's a player I've definitely missed since we haven't replaced him.
No.
Yeah, I just think, in games like, especially like Brighton at home or things like that, just to change up formation, go to a 3-5-2 and have someone creative when teams sit back. Who else out there is there that can come in straight away and settle in? Look what he's done for Brentford. I feel like with everything that's happened to him, he's got that new lease of life and he just wants to grab it, and he nearly had his career taken away, and I think he's got unfinished business.
Oh, that's an interesting comment there, Steve, from Matt, saying he was on Brentford's released list earlier.
That is interesting. I haven't seen that.
Wow.
But,
I haven't seen that.
That
hasn't been reported either. But
that is good news. But going back to what the other Matt said, he said some kind of C word, creative Something like that. What does that mean? We haven't seen
It's
that.
what Harry Kane does.
I'll tell you what. If only we could clone Harry Kane. Imagine how many goals we'd score.
Yeah,
Imagine Kane being on the end of Kane's balls and crosses.
Because you imagine Ericsson with players like Kulusevski,
Yeah.
It's a whole new avenue, isn't it? But yeah, no brainer for me. I think I'll get it done.
Do you think Ericsson? I know we want to be able to play 3 in the middle and 2 in the middle sometimes. Do you think Ericsson could play in a 3-4-3? So playing in the central 2 at times, Steve?
Depends who we're playing against. If we're playing against a lower league team or lower level team, I think so. Yeah. If we're playing against what we normally do against City, then I'd say no. So the teams we really need to unpick and just sit back and defend against us. Yeah, absolutely. Because for how many years have we seen a team sheet and effectively got 5 defenders, 2 or 3 defensive midfielders, and like we've just got no creativity? So I think bringing him in, particularly yeah.
Are you talking about Spurs or England?
Well, it could be either, couldn't it? Could be either. Be either.
Oh, so we can sort of very nicely merge this into the next part. If Ericsson comes back, does Sonny take free kicks? Which I'm gonna. Sonny had his 100th cap the other day. That way, going that way. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
but he's also scored a free kick in back-to-back games.
Yeah, he scored 2, isn't he, this week? Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it today.
Different corners.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. Now, he takes our set pieces, but not our direct set pieces. Yet we let Dyer and Kane take them all day long. Is he going to get a chance, or does it depend on if we sign? But surely Conte's got to see this and think, let's let him have a go. Steve?
Yeah, I mean, this is where I get really confused in life, because clearly Conte is a world-class manager, one of the best in the world. I clearly am not a world-class manager, not even a football manager. Am I world-class? But why the hell does Kane ever take a free kick for us? Dyer scored 1, I think. Kane only scores when it's deflected. And Son is 2-footed, so he can take it from either side of the box to whip it in or curl it in. Why? Yeah, it confuses me. No, he should be on free kicks, in my opinion. Mind you, he's not great at corners, is he? So, maybe.
Well, he's better than Ericsson was.
Yeah. And we have scored corners recently, haven't we? We've been scoring from set pieces.
We have scored quite a few set pieces this season.
Can I call you out there, John?
You can.
He's better than Ericsson was to Spurs. Every other
fair point.
He beats the first man.
Yeah.
Brentford, when me and you watched it together, every single time we beat the first man. Every single corner. And he didn't know once of us, barely.
Well, it was interesting. When I watched some of the highlights of the Brentford game, it was quite clear that they were blocking our defenders, we were like, why on earth is 3 times in a row Ivan Toney at the far post unmarked? Yeah. It's because they were very clever at blocking our defenders off. But yeah, that was a clear plan. We have not had a plan on set pieces for years.
No.
Other than just chip it into the near post and hope it gets flicked on.
I mean, some teams, don't they, have set piece, like a special coaches. I think Liverpool have a throw-in coach.
They do, yeah. Yeah.
So maybe, we're talking about staff. Maybe we need people like that, these fine details can, just change little things in your team, keep it fresh, and can maybe score you 1 or 2 more goals,
Oh. I mean, he might as well just come on the show tonight, mightn't he? Osilio, would that be? Is in London to understand how strong Paratici's interest in Bastoni is and how far Spurs are willing to go. If in the meantime Tottenham put forward a proposal of 55 to 60 million for Bastoni, Inter would carry out the sale.
Do you want a player that doesn't want to actually come to it? Like, it's just a tough one, isn't it? Like, clearly
is it that he doesn't want to come? He just doesn't want to leave. He's only 23, isn't he? He doesn't necessarily want to leave.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? He's probably thinking, I've got to leave my family, like Conte had to. But obviously Conte's a lot older, where he's matured a lot more. How old's Bastoni? Is he 23?
Yeah, he's 23, yeah.
So it's a big move for a 23-year-old to just move up everything and come to a completely new country. But the one thing that might be on his side is players like Bentancur, Kulusevski, Romero can help him settle in. I don't know. It's a tough one. I think like you said, John, we're not going to the end of it yet. But apparently he's in London for transfer meetings and not regarding Lukaku. Apparently, which is quite interesting. So
yeah, I don't know where you've got this stat from. Well done, Space. If that's legit, Spaceman.
It sounds legit.
I mean, that was just
what about free kick?
Yeah, so it's about 53 free kicks or something, I'm guessing, roughly.
He must score like 50 in training or something, and they must go, wow, he can hit them.
He's had a few that's hit the post and the bar, hasn't he? But yeah, just... Here we go. Ken always remembers Ozzy flicking up a free kick and Hoddle volleying it in against Manchester United. Perhaps the team should watch old videos. There was a thing a few years ago when Clive Allen gave Jermaine Defoe some DVD of Jimmy Greaves' goals and said, stop trying to blast it, pass it in the corner. The next game he scored twice against Wolves, possibly, by just passing it from about 25 yards.
Hmm.
So there is some merit in it, looking at old goals. If only we can get Jimmy Greaves, someone to beat Jimmy Greaves again.
I mean, how much would he be worth now?
He was admittedly lazy, though. He didn't run back. He wouldn't chase anyone. He'd get the ball and then go past everyone.
He wouldn't be.
But, I mean, Greaves is Messi level. He really was. When you watch those goals, it's the sort of thing Messi does all the time.
Can you compare it? Look at the pitches he had to play on compared to what Messi gets. There's a hell of a difference with the ball, with everything. But obviously now, with Jimmy Greaves, because of how he kind of was with smoking and drink, like he wouldn't be able to. None of these players would be able to keep up with the pace that we're playing now.
Yeah, but then he fell into that world. That wouldn't probably happen these days, would it?
No, yeah, true.
That probably would have stopped him getting in that world. But
can you imagine what Conte would do if he caught you having a puff at half time?
Conte would probably join in. A lot of the Italian managers do, don't they?
Well, he drinks a lot, like not a lot, but Conte loves his red
wine, doesn't he?
Yeah. A lot of the managers do, don't they? Mourinho used to always go on about a good Portuguese red wine.
And actually, speaking about managers, that's something that Redknapp said, which was quite interesting on Wednesday. Is he said, back in the day when he was a manager, particularly when he was kind of starting out, nearly all the managers were British. And he said all of them had a good bond. He said all of them he said, see, obviously Redknapp loves his horses, as does Alex Ferguson. And he said quite often before a game, when the players are out warming up, he'd sit in Ferguson's office at Old Trafford, putting bets on horses. And he said after the game, he'd quite often have a glass of wine with people. And he said because managers are staying less amount of time at clubs, there's more churn and there's more foreign managers now, and you lose that bond a bit. And because of the amount of interviews they have to do, he said all of that kind of spirit has gone. Which I thought was quite interesting and a bit sad. He was certainly lamenting it a bit.
Yeah, right. Oh,
changed.
Interesting. Apparently, Skriniar are out for 3 to 4 months. George is saying. I'm guessing it's on international duty. So that might affect things for Inter. I did hear the other day that apparently he doesn't want to go to PSG.
Yeah, he's happy in Inter. He's come out and said it, hasn't he? So
yeah. Oh, Dave agrees. Jose always loves a good Portuguese wine. To be fair, lots of players are reluctant to go to teams and can just play fine. Equally, we have some players who really want to be here but aren't good enough, as in Winx and Mora. I think that's a fair comment. Is there anyone else we'd like, ideally? We all know we want Ndombele out, we want Winx out. Who else? Is there anyone else, Steve, that you think we need to get rid of?
Probably Gio, sort of his salary and still help us get Pau Torres if that's the route we want to go.
Yeah.
Obviously, Tanguy, as you said, Winx, as you've said. Depending who we get in, Tanganga. Like I said, I don't think he's good enough. If we don't get rid of Tanganga, then potentially Emerson, because Tanganga can do a job if he's third choice at right back or right wing back. And I tell you what, we're kind of scraping a barrel here. We haven't got many players left, have we? We'd need to get quite a few centre backs in to get rid of people like Roden. I know a lot of people want to get rid of Sanchez, but I think we've got to get an awful lot of centre backs in to start getting rid of Sanchez. So I think he's decent. He's not top quality, but he's good enough to sit on our bench.
He's improved though, isn't he? I mean, look what he did those last. He stepped in for those final 3 games when we needed him most, pressure moments, and he had a dodgy 5 minutes against Arsenal at the beginning, but he soon settled into that game and was part of one of the goals, wasn't he? So. Fair play to him. I've given him a lot of stick, and I'm sure we all have over the years. But it just shows you what a top quality elite manager can maybe help those sort of players.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you a story, Matt. I was getting a bit edgy at the start of that North London derby because Sanchez did look dodgy, and I got a WhatsApp message from Mr. Diver telling me it's early, John. Calm, stay calm, and he was right. Give him his dues. But yeah, Sanchez. He still looks like he's got a mistake in him, and his passing is similar to Tanganga's, not good enough.
Agreed.
And you can train players to get better, but when you're comparing him to Romero, it's a bit unfair. But he's so far ahead, and Ben Davies on the ball is so far ahead as well.
Yeah,
I think we've ever said that. So
it's not a terrible backup for Romero, though, is it? In terms of Sanchez to come in, and I don't think that's terrible.
I think it affects our attacking ability because we know how much Romero can do on that right centre-back position. So if we can get some money for him, because he is rated highly on the continent, I think we probably should look to do so if we can.
But I think the problem is, and I get it, and I wouldn't be averse to him going, but let's say Sanchez goes, right? Well, we need a left centre-back, so that's one we're going to be buying. We probably need another half-decent centre-back. To replace Sanchez, and we probably need another central back as either backup or competition to Dyer. I can't see us buying 3 decent centre backs. It's 120, 150 million.
No. Fair comment.
We need a backup to Kane. We need a right wing back. We probably don't need a left wing back anymore, but I wouldn't say no to one. We need a creative midfielder.
And we'll need a winger when Bergwijn goes, won't we?
Yeah.
As well?
So I think here's let's pick the lowest hanging fruit. In terms of right wing back, 100% we need creativity, 100% we need Winx we need to get rid of, Mbappe we need to get rid of, and then when dust settles, and we need left centre back, and then when the dust settles, if we've got money in the bank, and somebody wants Sanchez for a good chunk of money, let's do a deal. Also, who would we get? I don't even know who's decent. We've concentrated on left centre backs. Who's out there? Who's an upgrade, but not too much of an upgrade because he's going to be competing with Romero at right centre back.
Well, one I like is Bremer, but obviously he's
fair point.
Going to be 30 million, but then he's probably, like you say, he's not going to want to come and sit on the bench, is he? So it's a problem.
Oh, sorry. This one. There you go. I think Dave's on the medication already. He's making him go a bit Dele Alli, Steve.
He is. Well, Caller and I might be back down the Tunnel Club for Guns N' Roses, like we said earlier. I'll let you do down
there. Right, there's... Say again?
I like a bit of fondue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you don't like chocolate, though, do you? You're a cheese fondue, I'm guessing, is it?
Yeah, cheese.
Obviously, cheese room. There's 148 people watching, only 79 likes. Come on, guys, please get us over that 100 mark. Just click on the little thumbs up button. It doesn't cost you anything, but it does help us and means the world.
Will you sing?
Will I sing?
Yeah, if we get 100.
We'll meet. I'll sing. We'll meet again. Just to you. I only know the opening line. I don't know the rest of the words. Do we have anything else to chat about? Oh, yes, we do. Hold on. Let me find my picture. There we go. We've got a new kit. How exciting. Are we excited? I mean, I don't really care, to be honest. Matt, do you like the new kit?
When I saw it obviously being leaked like a couple of months ago, I was like, well, it's kind of the same. And obviously I saw it, online. But when you see it kind of on the players or like in this, it's obviously made to look good, obviously, but it's quite smart. I mean, it is pretty much the same kit with like a yellowy green trim, isn't it? But
yeah,
it's a new kit. No, it does look quite smart. I have to say, I think it does look quite classy. I just wish we could get rid of that red AIA, but apart from that, it's yeah.
Steve?
Yeah, well, I like it. It's fine. I never tend to buy kits anyway, but I must admit, I never quite know what people expect because it's going to be white. It's going to have a Spurs logo on it. It's going to have AIA on it. It's going to have the Nike logo on it. It's going to have Cinch on it.
Yeah.
Like, there aren't too many derivations you can go with that. And particularly Nike over the years, especially more recent years of us, they've tended to have a fairly plain home shirt and then have gone a bit wild. Yeah. Which I'm happy with, because then, if you want a plain, traditional Spurs shirt, you go for this. And then if you want something a bit more out there, you go for the away kit or the curd kit.
Well, the rumoured away one does look quite nice this year.
What's the away one? I've seen some that look like training kits. Is it that one?
No, it's like it's like a different shade of blue. It's quite
No,
wacky.
It's not the sailing one, is it? It's got like I've seen one with like a yellow stripe there.
No, it's not that. No, it's not that. No, but it's rumoured to be coming. I think it is. So yeah, I suppose we'll have to wait a couple. Well, I don't know how long it takes. I mean, normally they're releasing the away kit nearer the beginning of the season, don't they?
Yeah, I think the mistake they made this year was when the away kit came out last season. I was like, I quite like that, and there was a lot of negative feedback. But like you say, once the players wore it, a lot of people were like, oh, I quite like that. And then the third kit came out, and it was very similar to the away kit in that it was a bit different. They probably should have made the third kit a light blue, a sky blue, or a yellow, because they had that funky away kit. I think going with two funky kits was a dangerous move. So it will be interesting to see what they do this season.
And I think people tend to buy the away kits and the third kits because they don't like the red in the kit. You get that quite a lot, don't you? Because you look at the away kits, the AIA is in white or blue, isn't it? So it naturally suits us a lot more.
And some people just like the away kits because they're different.
Yeah,
because like we say, there is just only so much
you can do. Get anything down it, it's not going to stain. That's the problem with white, isn't it? It's pure. Well, I mean that if you get something down it, it's going to be full on show, isn't it?
I'm a messy eater, so that could be a nightmare on me.
What was your favourite meal in the Tunnel Club this year, Steve?
That's a good question, actually. Beef Wellington's always good.
Oh,
yeah. I will tell you, Matt, he sends me pictures every game of his food. It's like, yeah, cheers.
I bet it's good. Yeah, beef Wellington. Wow.
But probably the best.
With a sausage roll.
He does a good sausage roll down there as well. But probably the best thing I've had is he did a butternut squash curry.
Wow.
Oh wow.
That was a bit unusual for me because I don't normally go veggie, but that was good. And I know the chef quite well now, so I talk to him every game. And he kind of pulled me to one side as I walked in, and he just said, "Go for the curry." I'm like, "No, veggie dish, no chance, mate." He said, "Go for the curry," and trust a chef, and yeah, it's good. Who was server of the season? I think Caller, when he came down and got me a drink from the bar, that's probably server of the season.
Did he get injured on the way?
He did. He scored a hat-trick on the way as well. No, our main server, bless him, he's departed now. He's a good egg, and He was at the Liverpool Spurs game. He was in the director's box through one of his schoolmates, and he had a good chat with Daniel Levy. Daniel Levy where he worked, and apparently Levy just looks around like a Liverpool stadium and where they're at, and he went, "Not got a patch on arse," says it. I think he's right. So at least Levy's proud. Also, I'm surprised. People said about the red logo. I'm surprised that Levy allowed that, because famously he asked for what? I think all the fire extinguishers. I'm not sure. Somebody will probably call me out for this, but I know most of the fire extinguishers in the ground are the silver stainless kind of ones.
Right, okay.
And the all the kind of workings, the escalator things that they've got, he wanted them blue because typically they're red apparently, and he had them sprayed.
Was there any excessive ketchup and mayo from other parts of the training ground? I'm guessing that's supposed to be.
Oh no, they've locked.
I think ketchup and mayo is far too lowbrow for the Tunnel Club now.
No, I love my mayo. Actually, I bought some keto mayo, but that's
Are you still on keto, Steve?
I am still on keto, but I'm boozing.
Oh, good for you.
Boozing too much, unfortunately.
You guys are lucky to be able to go to a new home and try the food anytime. I have to arrange a whole trip across the continent. Wow. We've got many people on this cheese room. We've got Brendan lives in Brazil. Dave is in Australia. He's commenting right now. Unfortunately, he's not able to come on the show tonight. Dave came over to the Leeds game. Brendan went to the Man City game at the beginning of the season. We've got loads of guys part of the cheese room who are all over the world. So you're not the only one.
And there's, I mean, you both, when you go to games, Matt, I don't know how many you go to, but that's I know the same for the game as quicker than John. That's still a trek to go to the games.
Yeah, it probably takes me, I suppose overall travel time is 3 to 4 hours, I suppose, in terms of there and back. And, it can be a long slog, but, it's worth it, obviously, if you win or if you, get a good result. But it's always a bad one when you're, when everyone's back at home and you're still travelling home after a loss. It's all worth it. The day's great, but it is quite a little bit of a trek, but not as much as I suppose other people. But
yeah, to get to Tottenham is probably 3 hours for me. Yeah, each way. Sometimes a bit longer. Depends if I drive or the trains are useless from down here. Matt's lucky. Brighton's a bit quicker than down here, but so I just drive because I get fed up with the trains. So I have to drive all the way around the M25 past Heathrow, which is just a ball ache.
I'm pretty quick going up from the Emirates. So I'm pretty quick going up from there.
Yeah. Oh, Daniel Harrison. It's funny. I can't see the I can see Daniel Harrison's comment. There we go. It's come through. When are the fixtures released? They are released on the 16th, which will be Thursday. And then we'll have to wait about 5 months for Sky to sort their lives out and decide which games are live. Now, it'll be another 3 or 4 weeks before we get... Well, no, probably not even that long. Yeah, probably 2 or 3 weeks before we get the August games. And then in early to mid-August, we'll get the September games. And then if you go on the Premier League website, you can find the announcement dates. But they never meet the announcement dates. They're always late of which month and when they're going to announce it. I think because they obviously have to agree the fixture changes with the police, with the clubs themselves, with the Premier League. If you remember that farcical when they wanted to put Spurs West Ham on New Year's Eve, didn't they? Like 8 o'clock in the evening or something stupid like that. And it ended up being played on the 4th because the police went, we can't police it. Good luck.
Especially that game. Also, I don't think we've said hello to Holly yet this evening, have we?
Holly, oh, hello. Holly, you there?
Been in the chat quite a bit. Good evening, Holly.
Evening, Holly.
Hello, Holly. I don't know who you're asking where you're from, Holly, though. Also, N17's got some breaking news saying Bastoni's agent is in London. Hopefully he's in North London, not West London.
It'll be nice. I can't see it happening, but if it does,
wow,
that's a decent defence. What's one of
Kerry
those?
Kerry makes a good question. Is he agent for any other players? I imagine he probably is agent for a lot of players. They do tend to be. And Steve's going to Google. So we'll have a quick chat about Saturday 3 p.m. kickoffs. Is the last Saturday 3 p.m. kickoff the Burnley game where Sonny scored the Puskás goal under Mourinho?
It was 2 years ago, wasn't it? Apparently, we had Saturday 3 o'clock kickoff for 2 years. So
yeah, I think it's that game. That was December before COVID. So is that 19? Yeah.
Was that 5-1 or 5-0? I can't remember.
5-0. Yeah. And Troy Parrott came on, didn't he? Near the end.
Yes.
Kane scored a couple of beauties.
Yeah, he scored a screamer, didn't he?
Alpash thinks we'll get Forest away in the first game. This is the thing. The day before, there'll be loads of released, oh, we've got this team or we've got that team. And they're rarely right, are they?
No, not a lot. We always seem to get Newcastle near the beginning of the season, though, don't we? Like I remember
away
2 years in a row, we
yeah.
got Newcastle twice.
Yeah. Oh, do you know what? We haven't even discussed this, Morton. We haven't discussed a backup striker. Are there any strikers out there, Matt, that you would fancy to come in and play alongside Kane and Son and Kulusevski, or rotate in and out between them?
I mean, there's options, isn't there? I like that Martinez from Inter. I like Gabriel Jesus because I think he can kind of play multiple positions. He can play sort of centre forward, striker, left wing, right wing. He's quite versatile. He works really hard, and he's used to working hard for the team. You look at Man City. Whatever you say about them, and they've bought all their success. I mean, every one of their players works their socks off, don't they? Bernardo Silva goes through running stats like no tomorrow, and Jesus does it as well. And yeah, but I mean, the problem is with someone like Jesus, I think he wants first team football, and I just don't think we can offer him that, to be honest, unless you play two up front and then put him up with Kane. But then where do you play Sol? So
I think we just have to look at that. We need to rotate, and it might be that we play different types against different teams and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Jesus, you like I say, he should have belief in his ability to go, I can try and shift some of these players and get in this team. I want a striker to come in and go, okay, well, I'm going to be on the bench, but I'm going to get into that first team. Like Kulusevski, had to. As soon as he got into that team, he hasn't left, does he? So, there's a lot of options sort of out there. I mean, in that list, I think, like I said, this Martinez. I think, like I say, Inter have to sell, but whether it's Bastoni or Martinez or someone else,
they're doing a deal for the guy from Juve that we almost Dybala, and 2 or 3 other players, aren't they? So they're going to have to clear some players off their wage bill and get some money in.
I mean, Scamacca's a youngster, isn't he? Or he seems like a next up and coming thing in Italy. So, but I think he'll be about 30 million. Which is it's money again. I mean, I'd maybe tend to go with someone with a bit of Premier League experience, just because I think they could handle the league. And I just see Gabriel Jesus 35, 40 million. I think that's a no-brainer, but it's whether he wants to come.
Would you take Rashford, Matt?
Don't like his attitude, I've got to be honest. I don't know if it's something that's happened at United. Apparently we sort of asked about him, didn't we? And then they quoted like something like near enough 80 million or 70 million or something. I mean, we're not going to pay that for him. I mean, you look at his stats over the, especially this season, and it's not quite good enough. I think he's an exciting player, but whether his attitude's there, I don't know. And apparently he wants to play under Erik ten Hag, so I think that's a no.
Fair enough. I'm going to give this one to you, Steve. Troy Parrott, what should we do with him next season?
It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because I don't think he's good enough to be our only backup to Kane. But Alpesh makes a great point. We can't keep loaning him out, and it's going to be make or break. So he's starting to get on a bit, isn't he? It's around the age he should be, if he is going to be a player for us. He should be coming onto a bench, and he should be playing League Cup games, early round FA Cup.
He's 20. I think he's got a couple of years, to be fair.
But this is what I don't get. Maybe I've got, negative glasses on the club, like anti-rose tinted glasses or Davo tinted glasses, I should say. Like other clubs seem to bring players through, whereas we always seem, it's cooking time. Give that player one more year out on loan. He's going to be 25, 26, and then we realise he's not good enough. Then we'll sell him for 10 million.
It worked for Kane though, didn't it? Kane had a number of loans, and
Kane had a lot.
Yeah, he did. And Parrott, I would say, has done better this season than Kane did when he was at Leicester and Norwich.
Well, Kane was terrible because Kane got offered to every club he went out on loan at, and nobody wanted him.
Yeah,
says a lot.
Yeah, I think Stuart suggested that he needs to go to a lower championship side. So yeah, did MK Dons go up in the playoffs? I think they did, didn't they?
They did. I don't think they did.
I can't remember now. Oh no, they got knocked out in the semi.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he scored though. I think Parrott scored.
He did. They lost 2-0 against Wickham, and that's it. And he scored in the return game. So I think a championship loan would be the logical sense for him this season because he did very well last season. But he played more of the Kulusevski role, didn't he? He played as a sort of attacking winger, sometimes playing as a striker. So he could. There is potential for him coming in, but maybe not in the Kane role going forward. Thanks, Stuart.
Fair point.
Yeah.
I'm going to sound a bit like HG here, but he makes a good point. So, Jesus, like, if he's going to come in, why would he swap Manchester City's bench for Tottenham's bench?
Maybe he thinks he could get in.
The only thing is, he's going to get less game time at City because they've signed Haaland and also Alvarez, unless he's going to go out on loan somewhere. He's coming in, isn't he?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
So there'll be fewer spots.
And then you look who they got on the right-hand side in terms of right wing. It's Mahrez. It's, Sterling can play there. There's options, isn't there? He's just not going to get in. Whereas he could get in our team.
Yeah. Right. Oh, we didn't discuss this. Sorry. Good point. PFA team. Sonny, we discussed he wasn't player of the year, which, maybe you could understand, but it was harsh he wasn't top 6. But to not be in the team behind Ronaldo and Mane, having scored 22 goals, I think 7 assists, I think it was, it's just baffling. It's been announced so late. So surely because they used to vote on these things in February, so you get that. But in this day and age where it's all modern, it's done on, I don't know, apps or emails, surely they've done it in the last couple of weeks. How is he not in that 11? Steve, explain it to me.
Honestly, don't know. It's baffling, and I think the most baffling thing is, I did the thing you should never do on social media. I didn't just look at a Facebook post. I looked at the comments, and they normally trash. And there was, of course, quite a few comments of, "We close to Spurs. Spurs have never won anything." Right, okay, fine, original. Thank you. Move on. But loads of fans. And loads of fans wearing rival, and I mean West Ham and Arsenal and Chelsea shirts, are saying it's ludicrous. And, being frank, if you got our worst rivals calling out as a bad decision, then it's absolutely crazy. And he's liked as well. He's well liked. Like, if he was some asshole player who nobody liked, I could kind of understand it. But Golden Boot for a well-liked player with no penalties, it is baffling.
Matt, have you got anything?
It's just angry. I just think he's such an underrated, disrespected footballer. You look at Mane's stats; it's 16 goals, 2 assists. Son's absolutely whipped him: 23 goals, 7 assists. I mean, it's obviously clearly what the votes are, or what because Liverpool have done a title challenge, or they've won a certain amount of trophies, or. I think it's more about what you win rather than the actual individual award of the actual player of the season, or in terms of goals and assists. It's more about what they bring to the team and what those goals mean for the team. And obviously, it's just a joke really. But the more disrespect he gets, I'm sure it will drive him on more. And hopefully we can Spurs as a team, and Son and Kane as players can just shut, people like that up. Hopefully, when we go and try and win some trophies. So, yeah, I think that's what we got to do.
Yeah,
but
I'm just going to throw this one at Steve. Inter are in trouble. They took out a short-term loan that needs to be paid back, and they've recorded the highest losses of any other European team over the past 2 seasons, according to Swiss Ramble. Have you seen any of this, Steve? Are you aware of this?
I haven't, but Craig is usually on point, and Swiss Ramble is usually on point. So, yeah, I'll take it as gospel. Like, we all knew they were in some financial trouble, but that's not ideal.
Well, that is potentially
ideal for us.
Players.
Yeah.
But the only thing I'd say is it might end up being a bit of that would lead itself to a Daniel Levy special end of the transfer market time, which is not what we want this season. No. Because we're going to be 5 or 6 games into the season already by then.
Well, it depends how short term the loan is, doesn't it?
Yeah. And if they can rearrange it. Yes, Inter have to sell, and they're already arranging to buy, so they have to sell big too. Yeah.
And somebody made the point, didn't they, that Martinez isn't going to go because the fans will just burn the club down.
Well, supposedly they want Lukaku back, so could they offset that?
Potentially.
Yeah. I don't have any birthdays because I haven't looked any up, but I did really random fact. And on this day, from the 12th, which is Sunday, of June 1966, Tottenham Hotspur travelled to Mexico to play a couple of local teams in a sort of an end-of-season tour. They ended up playing the Mexican national team as a World Cup warm-up game. And Alan Gilzine scored the only goal in front of 100,000 fans, which I thought was very random and quite interesting. But yeah, so that's my on this day for.
You've learned something today.
Yeah, it's in my little book. I've got an on this day book, which is quite interesting. So yeah, I think that's it. Have you got any thoughts? Anything else to discuss, chaps? Oh,
that was me. Sorry.
Oh. Oh, sorry. Adrian's added. Inter reportedly loaned 240 million, which needs to be paid by 2024. They need 60 million to balance the books.
That's a chunk. That's only.
Well, it's Bastoni and Martinez, isn't it? They're the 2 kind of players that are worth that sort of money. So one of them has to go.
Plus, they're going to have to replace. Dybala's not going to come in on low wages, is he?
No, I think he's going to be on like 280 grand a week or something.
Wow,
it's not worth that.
Yeah. So yeah,
but I do think it's looking positive, isn't it? So we've got 2-point strong rumour players already in. They all look decent.
Maybe three in the next couple of days. Well, probably 3 in the next couple of days.
So I think the club seem to be doing the right things. Obviously, proof is in the pudding. They need to actually follow through, and we need a Bastoni or Pau Torres, or we need some kind of flagship player. Especially considering we're not spending anything on Perisic and Forte. But have we ever gone into a transfer window positive? We're slightly positive now, so it's probably a good thing.
I don't think we've ever bought this early, have we?
Modric is the only one I can think of because we signed him in April because he actually went to a game in the pre-season. But apart from that, no.
Good point.
Yeah.
Daniel Levy charged them for shirts, didn't he? So where did we buy him from?
Zagreb, on it.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently the chief exec or chairman or whatever wanted some Spurs Modric shirts, and the rumor is Levy sent him a load and then knocked it off the transfer price.
Oh yes, I've heard that story.
Yeah, it's been reported enough in the press. So I think it's probably true.
Yeah, I do have some breaking news though. Apparently, there is a potential New England manager. There's so many of those going around the internet. It's brilliant.
Uncanny.
Yeah. Brilliant. So I think hour and 49 we've been going. So I think I'm going to call it a day there. Steve, thank you for joining me.
Thank you, sir.
Enjoy your weekend. And Matt, would you like to, before we go, tell us a bit about your channel, Premier Hotspur TV?
Yeah, so it's my and my other co-host Simon. We run Premier Hotspur TV, so we just talk about transfers. We try and do a show once a week. We're both really busy with work and things like that. We're quite honest with kind of how many shows we do. We just don't really have the time with families to deal with and things like that. But yeah, if you want to come and subscribe. But obviously before you do that, make sure you smash the like on this video. And subscribe, to the Cheese Room. These guys do great work, and it's been a good laugh tonight, and it's been good speaking about kind of all things football in a kind of international, kind of boring sort of week, isn't it? So if you want to come over and join Premier Hotspur TV, we've got a special show coming out on the 28th of June with Sir Steve Perryman. So
cool.
Yeah, that should be a good one. But yeah, everyone just have a good evening, and let's just hope for a good end. Good start to the transfer window, good end, and hope for a big season.
Well, thanks for coming, mate. You've been brilliant. If you, after the show, in the comments, put the link to your channel in there, I think would be good.
Okay,
so
mate.
You can see it afterwards. But on that note, I'm going to say, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.